Hello everybody, my name is Jay Black with the Winter Springs Dental Lab. I want to thank Sirona for giving me this opportunity to introduce Inlab version 4.0. I'm very excited that it's finally here, and it was definitely worth the wait. This software has completely changed the way our lab is operated. We now have the ability to design multiple restorations at the same time, in both arches and in any design mode you want. The new software has a completely new look, great new features, and some powerful tools. There's really almost nothing that this software can't do. In this initial webinar, I want to briefly walk you through the new layout, go over the types of restorations you can do with different design modes, introduce you to the new tools, and really just show you where everything is located so you can get started right away. In future webinars, we'll go into more detail with multiple unit designs, abutments, multi-layer, and many more features of this awesome software. So let's go ahead and get started. When you open up your Inlab software, you're going to come to this start screen. In the upper left hand corner, you have access to your system menu. Here you can save a case, import a case, export a case. You have access to your license manager. This will have all the details that are located on your USB license drive. You can open up configuration. Here in configuration, you have access to your global parameters, your devices, and some other options. We'll click on parameters first. In your parameters, you can go ahead and set right away all your different parameters for each type of restoration right in the beginning and go ahead and save it. We'll start with crown. The great thing with the new Inlab 4.0 software is you can visualize exactly what you're changing with each parameter. Let's take spacer for instance. In 4.0, 0 is 0, 80 is 80. There's no built-in spacer here. As you drag along this bar, you can see exactly what you're changing on the restoration, which is really cool. And you can do the same for each particular parameter. So really there's no confusion anymore of what exactly you're changing with each parameter. Once you're happy, go ahead and hit OK, and it'll save it. And you can do the same with each different type of restoration. Next we have our devices. We'll start with the Ineos. Here you can change the acquisition mode. You can calibrate your Ineos in this screen as well. And you can choose each milling unit that you have. Here you can edit the device settings, calibrate your milling unit, or change your instruments of your milling unit. Just choose which burr set you want to use or change. You can change both or just one. Next we have some different options that we can change. We can change our numbering notation. We can have our parameters show up right before our proposal each time if we want. We can turn on and off our warning messages. We can change where we want our data to be saved. In 4.0 we can calculate multiple restorations at the same time. So you can either choose yes, I want to do that, or no, I want one at a time. For our tool menu, we can automatically collapse it when we're done using it, or we can keep it open. I like to keep it open, so I choose no. With 4.0, we have buccal bite registration, but if for some reason you want to use the regular bite registration, you can activate it or deactivate it here. And you can change which language you want. So back on the start screen, on the left-hand side, we have all the dentists that we have done cases for. And as we click on each dentist, the patients that we have done cases for that dentist show up here. If we want to add a new case to that particular patient, we add case here. If we want to add a totally new dentist and new patient, we click add new order. And our patient card will come up here. We need to fill out at least 3 of these 5 boxes in order to move to the next step. The great thing about this software is on the bottom, if there's ever a red bar, that means you need to complete that step before moving on to the next one. So we'll go ahead and add new dentist, patient, and the date, and you can see we filled out 3 of these, so now we can move on. You can also add the order number for that case, or the PAN number, or the technician that did the case. We're going to go ahead and choose a case that I've already scanned, so we'll go to search. Choose that case and hit open case. So this brings us to the administration phase. At the top of the screen is our phase bar. As we complete each phase, the next phase will light up and we can go ahead and move on to it. Most everything you need to begin your case is located on this initial screen. We always want to move from right to left. We can choose our single restoration, a bridge restoration, or we can mill a model. For single restoration, you can choose crown, inlay, onlay, veneer, an abutment. You can do an abutment multi-layer. When you choose multi-layer, first you'll select your implant type, select your milling device, select your veneering structure material and your framework material, and you can split your crown into a crown and custom abutment. For single crowns, you have biogeneric individual, framework, biogeneric copy, biogeneric reference, a telescope crown, and you can also do multi-layer crowns. For bridge restorations, you have crown, inlay, onlay, veneer, ponic, and you can choose the same: biogeneric individual, framework, biogeneric copy, reference, telescope, or a multi-layer bridge. We now have bars available in this software. So let's say we wanted to do 6 to 11 with 7 to 10 missing and a hater bar across. So we choose bridge, crown, biogeneric individual, 6 and 11. We'll let the software know that 7, 8, 9, and 10 are missing. We'll choose hater bar. And if we want, we can add distal attachments. These attachments are also good for stress breaker cases. So let's go ahead and choose some crowns to design. We'll do single crown biogeneric number 14. As you choose the crown, we have red down here, so we need to complete that step. We'll select our milling device and select our material. The great thing is we have all our available materials from all the manufacturers all the time, so we can choose anything we want no matter what we're doing. Let's go ahead and do a Emax here. Choose another crown. Let's do single crown framework. Let's do number 7. Select our milling device. Select our material. Let's do Sirona Incorus zirconia coping. And if we want to do a bridge as well, we'll do bridge, crown, biogeneric individual. 3 and 5 will be our abutments. Have 4 as our ponic. We also can choose what type of connectors we want. For a full contour bridge, intersection connectors is the default. But we're going to go ahead and reduce this in the software, so we want to choose anatomical connections. Select our milling device and our material. Here we can do, let's do Ivoclar Vivadent acrylic CAD. Vita also has Vita CAD wax where we can mill out some wax and cast it. Hit OK. So we have everything chosen. There's pretty much, we could choose every tooth if we wanted to, any design mode. Just go ahead and hit next. As you can see, the next phase lit up so we can proceed. So now we're in the scan phase of this software. Let's go through a few things on this screen that are available to us. We can turn our camera on and off. We can capture a grid scan, a freeze scan, which is where most of your capturing will be done. You can capture a rotation, so if you want to incorporate a die into your model, you can do that here. You can capture your lower jaw, upper jaw, and buccal bite. A new advancement of this software is you can add additional catalogs. You can add a biocopy upper and lower catalog. If you want to scan a wax up or model the patient's temps or pre-existing condition, you can do so here. You can scan the gingival mask upper and lower. If we have a tissue model or a contact model, it'll help us get proper tissue contours. We also have bioreference upper and lower. If we want to reference a particular tooth on a different model that we really like the anatomy, we can scan it in here. Also in advanced, if we want to scan the impression, this is where we would do it. As you click on each catalog, all the images you took for that catalog are located down at the bottom. If you're not happy with a particular image, you can simply right-click on it and it'll pull it out of the model. Right-click again and it'll bring it back. If you want to select an image, you left-click on it, deselect it, left-click again. If you want to select all your images, you do so here, and then you can copy, cut, delete, or ignore all those images. Let's say you want to copy them all into a different catalog. You can go ahead and hit copy and move them to a different catalog. So once you're happy with all your images, you go ahead and arrow forward. We are now on our model phase where we set the buccal bite registration, or we can edit our model. In the edit model screen, we have the lower jaw, upper jaw, or any other catalogs that we've scanned in. Let's say we have something on our model that we want to get rid of. You simply right click on the model, brings up our tool wheel. Here we can smooth something on our model, remove it, or add. We can cut a piece off of our model, or we can replace a piece of our model. Let's say we have a hole or a spike or something we want to get rid of. You simply encircle it and hit replace and it'll get rid of it. Once we're done editing our model, we go ahead and hit buccal bite registration. So bring our models back up. Just position them where you took your buccal bite. On the right side of the screen, you can actually flip your buccal bite. So all you do is pull it up to the matching data and let go. Do the same for the lower. Once it articulates the model, we can go ahead and hit Analyzing Tools, Model Contacts, and see exactly what we have here. Make sure it articulated correctly. So if everything looks good, we can go ahead and go to our Model Axis screen. This is a new feature where we set the axis of our model. This is important when doing multiple units at the same time with different paths of insertion. Go ahead and just position it on our horseshoe. We have our midline right here. Once you get your model oriented properly, go ahead and hit OK. Now we can arrow forward. Now we're ready to mark our margins. If we want, we can trim out a particular area before we mark them. On the bottom of the screen, the tooth that is highlighted is the margin you want to mark next. To switch to a different tooth, just click on it. Let's go ahead and draw our margin for number 14 first. Double click to start. Starts with the automatic margin finder. If you want to toggle, you simply hit the space bar, and now we're on manual. Hit it again and you're on high intensity image. You can go back if anything fell off. Next, we want to define our insertion axis for each particular restoration. It's a little bit different. On the left-hand side, you have a little target. You just grab the little ball. And as you can see, as you move it, you want to minimize as much yellow as possible. Once you have it straight up and down, hit OK. Arrow forward and your parameters come up. You can leave them the same or change anything you want. We'll calculate our restoration. And while that's calculating, we'll go ahead and go to our next restoration. We'll do number 7. Draw our margin. Once we're happy, we'll define the insertion axis for that one. That looks good. Calculate our restoration. Next, we can go to the bridge. Wants us to do number 3 first. All you have to do is go to the bottom of the screen. Next we do number 4, Ponic. Button number 5. Next, we'll define the bridge's insertion axis. Hit OK. We also can define the insertion axis for each particular abutment. If we're happy, we don't have to do anything to it. But if we want, we can also change it. Arrow forward. Make sure we like all our parameters. And we'll get our proposal. Once we get our proposal, we can pull up our display objects. Here we can turn on and off our upper jaw. Click on the tooth you want to do. We can make it transparent. Click on our lower jaw. Also make that transparent. We can turn on and off our restoration. Turn on and off our minimal thickness. Or we can trim the model away completely. Next, we'll look at our display objects. Or rather, our analyzing tools. Here we can turn on or off our contacts for our restorations. We can turn on all of our model contacts. We can change the color of our restorations. We can turn on model box, which is similar to Control B on the previous software, and see if there's anything binding, or check our contacts from inside. We can cut through our restoration to see if there's any thin spots. We can turn on our cursor details and check the thickness of our restoration. We can turn on the distance tool if we want to measure anything. And now we have what's called grid mode. And we can set our model in our grid. This is really helpful when we're doing multiple anterior restorations. We also have link options. If you want to link multiple teeth together, what you do on one restoration will happen on the rest. So now let's get to the fun part, designing our restorations. Let's start with our framework number 7 first. To access our tools, you simply right-click on the restoration. For a framework, we can recalculate it if we make too many changes and we want to start all over. We have our Form Smooth, Remove, or Add tool. You can change the intensity of what you want to add. Or you have our Shape, Anatomic, and Circular. If you want to lengthen it. In Anatomic, you have 2-direction and 4-direction. And you have Circular, 2-direction and 4-direction as well. It just moves a certain area. And Anatomic will move a larger area. Let's say you get through this case and you decide, oh, I don't want to do a framework. It's not a big deal. Simply go to Administration. Instead of a framework, let's do something else. So we'll edit Restoration. We'll define the restoration. Let's do a crown biogeneric reference number 7. Select the material. This time let's do an Ivoclar Empress Multi. Hit OK. Now we can go back to the model screen. Our other restorations are still here. Hit OK. We'll select the reference tooth. We're going to reference number 10. Next we pick our reference tooth. Then go ahead and arrow forward. Your parameters will come up again. You can change them if you want to. Hit OK. And you'll get your new proposal with number 10 as a reference. Pretty good proposal. Anything in blue means you're a little bit thin, so you can just right click on the restoration and your tool wheel will come up. You can smooth, remove, or add. You can choose how much intensity you want and just add to those areas that are thin. You can check your contacts by going to Display Objects, Trimmed Model. Make your contact broader by adding. You can toggle bring back up your model and move to the next restoration. So you'll right click on your restoration to bring your tools up. Again, you can smooth, remove, or add. You can position or rotate your crown. You can recalculate your crown. Let's say you did too much changes and you just want to start all over. Just hit recalculate. Or you can choose unadapted. When you choose unadapted, you can move, change the dimension of your crown, or rotate your crown back to the right position that you want. It's similar to your pre-positioning tool from the previous software. And once you get your crown approximately where you want, you'll hit recalculate and it'll give you a brand new proposal. That's particularly important with multi-unit restorations or just a prep that was sticking out and you got a bad proposal that you weren't happy with. You can go ahead and pre-position your crown back to where you want it and recalculate it to that position. We also have a new tool called the Dimension tool, and you can change the whole dimension of your crown, either buccolingually, I'm on the wrong crown here, or mesial distally, or complete. You can also use biogeneric variation, which is a very cool tool. Simply go up to the top right hand corner and choose any type of anatomy you like. And once you're happy, just let go. And you'll get a new proposal using that type of anatomy. You can adjust your contacts occlusally, mesially, or distally. Simply click on it and it'll adjust your contacts to your parameters you have set. The most popular tool that I use is the Shape, Circular, and Anatomical. For anatomical, you can move the whole buccal area, the whole lingual area, mesial, or distal. You can just move your central fissure up and down, or you can move a particular cusp up and down. That's in 2 directions. You also have 4-directional tool, where you'll simply, oops, go back here. You can move your cusp anywhere you'd like. With the circular 2-directional tool, you can just move a particular area. If you want to close a contact, you can adjust the strength of how much you want to move it. And depending on what direction you're looking at, you'll see this arrow. This is the direction you're going to pull the restoration. Double check your contacts. If you want to make a broader contact, simply pull. Bring your model back up. Next we'll go over to our bridge. Double click on the restoration in that bridge you want to adjust. Let's say we want to make these a little bit broader. You can still use your circular 2-directional tool to broaden it up. But in this particular case, we're going to do a reduced bridge. Let's bring this marginal ridge up some. So we'll right click on the restoration, click on reduced, simply left click and move up, and you can reduce as much or as little as you want and let go when you're happy. We'll go to our ponic next, reduce that as well. Now let's say we wanted to do a middle occlusal back here. We'll double click on the molar, bring up reduced. This time let's just reduce it partially, just on the facial, the buccal that is. Just choose the area that you want to reduce. Come back over here, left click and move up, and you can reduce it as little or as much as you want. So now if we want, we can go ahead and mill this out of CAD wax or acrylic CAD and cast it. You also can adjust your connectors. Simply click on the connector and then right click to bring up your tool wheel. Again, you can smooth, remove, or add. You can position your connector if you want to move it up or down. You can recalculate your connector if you did too much with it. You can edit your lines of your connector. Double click on it. Now you can either edit your line by double clicking. You can drag your line, or you can move the whole connector. Hit apply. So then you're ready to go. So as you can see, it's pretty easy to maneuver through all these tools take you a while to get used to exactly where they're at, but once you know where they're at, it becomes pretty easy. To move to each tooth, you just simply double click on it, or you can click here at the bottom. Say we also want to add some facial porcelain to this, we can just reduce this one as well. We can reduce it full, or we can reduce it partial. Let's go ahead and bring it back up first. And again, just double click on the area you want to reduce. So you can do that for any crown all the time without having to choose reduced in the beginning. We can do the same for our molar if we want. We can reduce it into a coping that's anatomically correct. Or we can reduce it partially if we wanted to. So once you're happy with all your restorations, go ahead and go to the mill preview. In the mill preview, you have a few more options. We have edit mill options. We have normal milling, which is default, fast milling, and two-step milling. And two-step milling is new. It was added for complex restorations, for example, restorations with major differences in height of the margin, tight margin curvatures, as well as restorations with tight spacer settings. This mill will take longer. It just depends on your individual situation and what you feel comfortable with. We have change block size. It will always default to the smallest block available. So double check if all you stock is C14 Emax blocks. It might default to the 12 block, so make sure you choose the C14 block. Next, you can adjust the mill position. You right click on the restoration. Now you can rotate the block anywhere you want and get your sprue anywhere you want. If you want, you can pull up your model. So once you're happy with your sprue placement, you can go ahead and export the selection. You can either export it to stack and mill multiple restorations out of one block, or you can export it as a file restoration, let's say for instance to Infinident, or you can just go ahead and start milling. We'll bring our other ones into the mill preview. Get rid of our reduced. Bring it back in as full contour. We can go ahead and go to our edit mill options here again, change block size, adjust mill position if we want to. So we can go ahead and start milling these two if we want. We'll go ahead and bring our bridge back in to the milling preview. So we can go ahead and mill this out of wax and cast it. Sirona has really done just an amazing job with this Inlab 4.0. The possibilities that this software has brought to the table are absolutely endless, and I know you're super excited to jump in. I hope I was able to get you familiar enough with this software so you can get started on it right away. We'll have future webinars that will go into more detail and show the real power of this software. Again, I want to thank Sirona very much for having me, and thank you very much for listening.